All right.
Yeah.
So, va bene, benvenuto, more de degno. That means, all right, welcome to Bikeworthy.
Nice.
So that's Italian, and I butchered Italian, but I figured I would try it because this is episode 13 already?
131?
131? No, definitely not there yet.
Okay.
But Biteworthy, as I say every week, it's a term that describes a comic that is good enough to want to steal from, or made a joke that like you wish you had. Biting material is not something that we do. It's like one of the cardinal sins in comedy. Means you're stealing mannerisms, jokes, punchlines, etc. So, but this comedian is no exception. He's a bite-worthy comic. I just saw him. We just did a show the other night.
Yep.
And it's my pleasure to have him, Jeremy Bertarioni.
Jeremy Bertarioni. Great to be here, Ryan. Great to be here in this restaurant Breakers in Duluth.
Yeah, we're Breakers in Duluth. This is the second Korean barbecue place that the comic has picked. So,
oh, I wish I had known that.
Yeah.
In 13 episodes, I could have done something. I could have done something unique around East Point.
There's not going to be anything unique unless we have like, I don't know, a restaurant in space. Like it's not going to be anything. It's going to be done again, but that's okay.
Yeah.
It's your choice. That's the most important thing.
Interesting.
Yeah, man. So I'm glad you're here. What the hell day is it?
Yeah, today's Sunday usually.
Today's Sunday. Usually it's a day that follows Saturday.
You're right. That's what
I appreciate you picking it up. So I wanted to just get right into it. I'm Italian.
Okay.
He's Italian.
Yep. Ostensibly.
Sure. Yeah, but and you just revealed Costa Rican in terms of locally where your family grew up or was raised or whatever.
Yeah, well, so the easy way to put it is I would spend the school years here in the United States, and then for summers it was cheaper to just send me to Costa Rica than to put me in like summer camps or whatever. So
Gotcha.
Summers I would go to Costa Rica.
Okay, so but your family background lineage.
Oh yeah, it's Costa Rican.
Okay, gotcha.
Half of it, my dad's half, and then my mom's half is Wilkes County, North Carolina, which is like all the way backwoods, like redneck.
Damn, because it's crazy. Because I was gonna ask, this is Italy heavy.
Okay.
Bertarioni is where in Italy is that from? Let me ask you. Do you know that?
No, I have no idea.
Okay, because I was like, there's no other comic that I know of in Atlanta that has an Italian name.
It's such a heavy Italian name.
It's more Italian than my name.
There's Jason Zaremba.
I don't. Is that Italian?
That's an Italian name, but he is pretty Jewish.
Yeah, he's very Jewish.
Yeah, he's really Jewish.
Quite Jewish.
That's why he'll never be on this podcast. Is that what we're doing?
Is that how far we're gonna go right off the bat?
Yeah.
So I could tell you that my family is from a place called Modugno, which is on the heel of the boot, because everybody who's Italian is obsessed with where are you in the country?
Right.
Like where are you from in the country? Are
Sure.
you at the top of the boot? Like those people are snobs, or these people in the middle are like considered dumb, and these people are like blue collar. Sicilians are like, I don't know, angry people. It's wild.
No, I'm familiar with those like sort of cultures, but I always just kind of in those conversations would be like, I'm Costa Rican, bro.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Which is
squash the Italian.
Well, Costa Rican is such a big part. Like they don't cook Italian food. They make Costa Rican food, comida típica de Costa Rica. And so
Costa Rican.
It's such a big part of the culture. Like my whole family's so Costa Rican that the more Italian thing is the name and the way that my family acts with regards to, they all look like mob guys.
Same with mine. My grandpa showed me a picture where all of his uncles and great uncles are all brothers. They're all sitting, and they used to play. They used to put their guns on a poker table, play poker, and drink coffee. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
No, of course. Like, what do you guys do? And they're probably not even criminals. It's like, what are you guys doing?
Just being Italian.
Yeah, exactly.
Being Italian.
I remember watching some meals that the men in my family in Costa Rica were having. and one of them like got a phone call, and watching him answer it, it was like The Godfather. He like picked up the phone and like looked around and was like, "Hello," and I was like, you don't do illegal stuff, you know, like you can just answer the phone.
Yeah, you don't have to look around for nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
So all right, I'll switch that. Where in Costa Rica is there a town,
So
village?
Costa Rica is divided into municipalities.
Okay.
And so it's the Alajuela region of Costa Rica, which is
Alajuela.
close to the it's southern, but Costa Rica is really small. It's smaller than North Carolina.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So it's southern Costa Rica, which to me is like
Down there.
Yeah.
It's over there.
Like me driving to my home in East Point, Atlanta, is going to be like the top to bottom of Costa Rica.
Gotcha.
You know, so like
Okay.
but no, it's southern Costa Rica. Real pretty, real nice. It's in one of the blue zones. I don't know if you know about those. It's just one of those areas of the world where people live to be like 100 regularly.
Oh wow. No, I didn't. I know because the only person that I know of that used to deal with Costa Rica was I used to work for a guy. He owned a restaurant in Cumming for the longest time. Excuse me. And that's where I'm from. Cumming, Cumming.
Yeah.
And so he would go down there all the time. And he's the only person I know. He's like, I love it there. He actually had a restaurant called Third Coast Grill down there, and I knew that's where he got the name, and that's where he had it. But it seemed like a really cool, like small, unique, very Americanized place. Is that really what it is?
Costa Rica?
Yeah.
It is pretty unique.
Because a lot of retired cops go there.
Yeah.
Things like that.
So the thing about Costa Rica is like their main income as a country is tourism, and then secondary is like exports of agriculture. And another thing about them is that 4% of the world's biodiversity comes from Costa Rica. So you have like rainforests and cloud forests that have all these like unique species.
No.
So there's a lot of like science tourism, like, you know, biologists from all over the world want a piece of that place. And then the other thing that really shapes their culture, in my opinion, is that they don't have a military in any sense. And
That's why the retired cops go there.
right. Well, yeah, and like, you know, guns aren't a big thing there, so it's a lot more of like a relaxed culture. And then if you look at a pie chart of, not to be political, this is not political, but if you just look at a pie chart of the U.S. budget, and like the percentage of that goes to the military. Now imagine what would the government even do with no military? Like they would just be like, I guess people don't have to pay for water anymore. I don't know. Like, right? Like.
That's true.
The Costa Ricans pay taxes, but there's a lot of things that they don't pay for, and then like, we don't even have to really touch on this very much, but like going to the doctor there is a whole different experience.
I'd imagine, because I mean, it's easy, you know, it's easy to do when you have a camp, like, you know, like a camp of people as opposed to a giant, you know, state of people. Like I can see that. I can see that. So
whole different experience.
Yeah, that's wild. This is now a TED Talk. That's crazy.
Is it?
I
Is
learned.
this not how other people do podcasts? I only have done a couple other podcasts, and I was super sought after because it was when I was a Magic the Gathering pro.
That's what I'm going to get into. Actually, as a matter of fact, you're a nerd like me, and I play Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
Not many people know this about me, and you play Magic the Gathering and also Dungeons and Dragons.
I play a little Dungeons and Dragons. I'm more of a Magic guy, and in Dungeons and Dragons, I'm like super a min-maxer. So
okay, that makes sense. That's the typical. That's pretty. Yeah. That's pretty typical. That's D&D typical, as if you were to say. If someone walked up to you, let me ask you, if someone walked up to you and said, I'm interested in both Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons, but I can only commit to one, which one would you say, and why?
All right. Do you want to? I have a follow-up question, but only one. I only need one, so it's not insufferable of me to say I have a follow-up question, because I'm not going to ask a lot of questions. Right. So I'm just going to go ahead and tell you what my follow-up question is, right now. I'm building suspense. That's funny. Anyway, I would ask him, do you want to beat your friends? Do you want to beat your friends, or are you fine not beating your friends? If you don't care about gaining victory over your friends, then you should play Dungeons and Dragons, obviously, easily. But if you're at the end of the day, you're like, I just want to win something. I want to win and not feel bad about it. Because some games will make you feel like, you know, if you beat somebody in Monopoly, they're like, you took all my stuff. You know what I mean? Like, you feel bad about it. I know, I just want to win. I want to, at the end of the night, we're all like, hey, good games, guys. Like, we played basketball or something. Somebody won. That's it. Then Magic the Gathering.
Has to win. Like, somebody has to win.
Yeah, and that's That's
in
why
Dungeons and Dragons, that's a pretty good point, because we make an effort to win against other people. So it's like, I can see how it's like, I want to beat my friends in this.
Yeah.
And I like that. That's fun, because I have a friend who's really competitive.
Yep.
And then I also see the benefit of like team building and playing together with different personalities and stuff, Dungeons and Dragons, because you are going against the Raven Queen,
Yep.
or the gelatinous cube, or whatever it is.
Additionally, D&D, this is probably a take that's been made so many times that people who are listening to the podcast are going to roll their eyes, but D&D is exactly improv. So if that's something that you're interested in, then you should play Dungeons and Dragons, right? I mean, it's even like has the same weird vibe of there's always one guy who's way too into like the group being a cohesive, happy time.
Yeah.
He's like, come on, guys. All right, so we're going to warm up a little bit, like that guy.
And there's one guy's like, I'm going to do this regardless of what happens.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
So D&D is exactly improv.
We have those.
You almost want to say like it's improv, but there's not even a but. It's just improv.
That's wise. I mean, I think it's helped me a little bit with comedy.
Yeah.
Because like you have to be goofy and silly and on.
Yeah.
In D&D.
On is the most important takeaway for comedy.
If you're on, because I'll answer my friends' questions, and they're out of character. Sometimes I'll answer them in character.
Yeah, because you're doing it.
Yeah. So all right. So we just had Korean barbecue breaker. Surprisingly, you didn't pick an Italian, or in this case, Spanish, like Costa Rican place.
Yeah.
Why do you hate your own people? I'm just kidding.
Let me tell you why I picked this restaurant. How about that?
Yeah.
How about that?
But do you think? All right. What do you think of this idea? It's again Italian themed question, but Italian Korean fusion. Here are some of the dishes that would be.
Okay.
Bulgogi.
Whoa.
Bulgoginese.
These sound really good.
All right. Boba tiramisu.
Oh, yeah.
All right. And then bibimbap parpadelli. It's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah, that one I'm lost on, but the other ones I could like literally imagine eating that and being like, this was smart.
Bulgogi. Yeah, because I would love to make like a nice, hearty, like linguine dish with bulgogi. I could see it working.
Oh yeah. When you said it, I was like, oh yeah.
All right, let's switch that question up a little bit. What in Costa Rican cuisine, like, would pair well with Korean food, do you think? Do you think it would mesh well? Because this, every culture has its food that happens to be savory, spicy, and sweet.
Yep.
Right? So we have salads that have a particular dressing. Mm-hmm. Do you think that if like a certain type of rice would go well with, like that brisket or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I just know what it would look like, and it would just be like some rice and beans, some salsa lisano, which is a sauce that they have in Costa Rica that's really popular, and then just like, okay. I mean, they do the same thing. There'd be fried plantains in this little cup instead of.
Man?
Yeah. There'd be fried plantains here instead of kimchi or whatever, and then they would just grill the meats on here and eat it with the rice and beans and stuff, and they'd be like, so like, I don't know. It's almost, I guess I just don't know enough about Korean food. I just like the K barbecues.
Yeah, it is really good. But I can see, because there's fermented stuff, which doesn't really happen much in other, as much. But I can see where other, like, because rice is almost as universal as fucking food or like comedy is in the food world. It's like every culture has rice.
Yeah, and every culture has jokes about.
It's very true.
Wieners.
You know what I learned? I was doing a research. It was Women's History Month in March, and I wrote a joke about the first female comic and how she was accidentally became a comic because she would say things like, in 1907, her name was Fanny Bryce.
Yep.
And the joke goes, the first female comedian I learned, she would actually say things like, I have an opinion, and I want rights and women should vote, and the men would laugh.
Yeah.
So that's how female comedy was born. That's the joke I say, but I learned
I've seen you do that joke.
it's okay. It's an okay joke.
It's fine.
It's
good.
fine. It's fine.
You can punch it up and it'd be really good.
I thought so. And so I learned that the first joke ever told was in ancient Sumeria.
Oh yeah, the dog.
It was a fart joke.
Oh.
It was what is not in translates to what's not on the immemorial. A young woman never farted in her husband's lap. That's the first joke ever told. It's not a good one.
Yeah.
It's in someone in ancient Sumeria was in an open micer, but
So it wasn't the first joke ever told. It's the joke that's the farthest back that
we can
gotten.
see. Is that what that is?
Yeah.
So what's the first joke ever told about the dog?
Well, I mean that wouldn't be in history. We just don't know it. What I'm pointing out is that wasn't the first joke ever told. That's the first joke that we heard about.
We saw.
Yeah. The first joke ever told was probably, something along the lines of something like, I bet your head would look pretty good on that rock. What? Bam! And the guy was like, that was something.
Oh, man.
What he's missing is that was kind of funny,
Wow, this made an emotion out of me. Or like when two cavemen trip over something. It's probably slapstick.
Yeah.
You're probably right.
Yeah,
I like
slapstick.
that. Slapstick. And that always gets you. So
the world's oldest profession, and it's like a guy sitting on a fart cushion. Not what people think it is.
So you have a mix of like goofy, self-facing humor and dark humor. It's like you have a mixture of those. That's my style that I've seen from you, that I've taken away.
I don't think I had dark humor.
Oh, well, it can be, I guess it's subjective.
Sure.
But you had a joke about stepping on a goose.
Oh, you know what?
Let me tell you.
I asked everybody who heard that joke not to tell anybody that I told that joke.
Sorry, but I can't, it's so funny.
Yeah.
I loved it, I laughed. I did what you do to people because there would be a crowd, and sometimes when no one laughs, I'll hear, and I'll hear you. I'm like, Jeremy has, and by the way, side note, you have one of the most supportive laughs in comedy.
Yeah.
Because I appreciate that, because your laugh will let me know if it's like, I know what you were trying to do there, like, that caught me off guard.
Right,
or
yeah.
like, oh God, like, that's, I can't believe you went there.
Yep.
It's very, like, telling. Your
I
laugh.
do try to give feedback through the laughs. You're exactly right.
And a lot of people don't do that. I'm a very supportive clapper.
Yeah.
Like I'll clap, I'm like, oh God, dang,
Yeah,
that was
like,
crazy.
yeah.
But, or if like it was a good point, I'm like, yes. Zane actually had a really relatable joke, like very relatable to me, and I just clapped fucking hard.
There's two Zanes.
Zane Sharif.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so he I don't know the other Zane.
Zane Zaidi. He just came into Atlanta and he's got like thick glasses. He's like kind of bald and.
Oh yeah.
He's a cool guy. He's a cool guy.
He had pretty good jokes. He has a nice deadpan.
He's good. He's smart.
Yeah.
His comedy's really smart.
My question about those types of humor is there any of those style of jokes that you're most proud of? That you're like, I wrote this joke and I love it, and people laugh at it, and I'm glad that I wrote it.
Yeah, it's the silly ones that are kind of like about comedy in a little bit of a meta sense. So like
The fourth wall kind of thing?
Yeah. So the one that I really like, that I really like is, and you might not have seen me do this one, but it's the one where I'm like, the core of the joke is alligators have a bite force of 2,500 pounds, and then I say like, what are they eating with all that bite force? Is it Teslas? and that joke is very like bad and dumb, but the part where it gets really funny is sometime in telling that joke, it has like more tags and stuff, but in doing it I have to have like a moment where I like face the audience and then they like get that I also know that this is stupid. And so I'm like, okay, and so maybe I was watching an Elon Musk TikTok when I wrote this video. That doesn't make me a bad comedian. And like the goal of that joke is that I have this connection with the audience where they get it. And we get it. Yeah, we get it.
Yeah.
That it's like you're sitting in the audience, I'm standing up here, and I have to tell jokes. So I wrote this one, and it's bad, but we're doing this already, so we're gonna have to do it. My favorite time I ever told that joke, I was like, hey, do you guys want to know a cool animal fact? And then I kind of like made a face like got ready for it, and then I was like, alligator has a bite force of 2,500 pounds. And then I like made a face like, and the audience just started dying laughing because they got that I was about to tell a joke. It was about to be stupid, and that this thing we were doing was ridiculous.
That's the mark of a good comedian, is because if you are super self-aware that like this joke is gonna be dumb, but I know it's dumb and I'm there with you, and you make that funny. I think one of the biggest pops of laughter was not a joke that I ever wrote. I was doing a show in Dahlonega, and the first thing I said is, "I look like I work here." That was it.
Yeah.
And it was a brief pause, and then, bah! I was like, I've never had a laugh that hard.
You connected with the audience.
I guess I'm so, forgive me for revealing my secrets, I'm relatively new to that.
Yeah.
That part of comedy where I relate to you, and like I'm there with you as the audience member versus comic, and I think that just comes with time and audiences and jokes and how they're taking it.
I think Nate Bargatze is one of the people that you can watch, and the reason that he slaps off so hard is because he almost always is right there with the audience. He has that joke where he's like, I'm at the airport counter, and he's like mad about my name, and he's like, well, but what matches is the picture.
Yeah, what I like about it is that, well, what I like what they do with that. Like, we have a guy with 3 names here.
Right,
like, I couldn't even tell it was Nate. I go by Nate.
That's not like a super funny concept, but what is not missing at all is he is 100% in the audience with everyone who watches that joke. Yeah. And that's like his really good talent. Whenever I watch comedians, I always like pretend that they have a superpower, and I try to need to try to get as much of the super.
What do they have?
Yeah. So Anthony Jeselnik, I see his timing.
Oh.
He'll like sit in and then hit you, and the timing is like his superpower when I'm watching it to get better at comedy. Right. So like Nate's he's connected with the audience in a way that very few.
Because he's a very average dude. He's
he seems that way. He's not.
Yeah, that's his persona.
Right.
Average guy.
Yeah.
Like very just guy you would see at Target.
Yep.
Or, guy that's driving his truck to pick up his dry cleaning. Mm-hmm. That's the persona you get, but like when you bring that to a comedy stage and people are like, oh, they tune in. The relatability of comedy. I guess I'm not super well versed in that. I haven't done that as much. There's a couple jokes that I have that are pretty relatable. Yeah. I wrote a pronoun joke that like, oh yeah, we do think that way. Oh, that is a good point. That's what I kind of like to do. But I'd say the joke that I think I'm most proud of is a joke about cancel culture, and I say, there's people, I don't like cancel culture, but every so often someone brings up a case that I would agree with them, and then I say, fitting we're at a Korean place, I go, chink in the armor. That sounds, describes weakness or vulnerability, which is true. That's what it is. But then I say, it also sounds like you really hate samurai. So I laughed out loud at my own joke. And it's the first time I ever did that. And I was like, that's so funny. Yeah. I wrote that and I was like, that's funny.
That is a funny joke.
Thank you very much. I'm proud of that joke. It doesn't really get that big a laughter. Sometimes it gets a groan, sometimes it gets a murmur laugh, but it's the one that I'm like, ah.
Well, it stinks because I could see you telling that joke, the whole room erupting in laughter, and then you not feeling great.
Yes, because it shouldn't be that funny.
Right. Because then you realize that all right, that was a problem. Because that happened to me once. I had a joke where I was like, so the thing about non-binary people is get a real job. But which is like fine. It's so in my mind that's so harmless because it's just an off-guard catch.
Real job.
Right. In my mind that's so harmless. But I told that joke once outside of the perimeter, and like they like kept laughing like way past what I was comfortable.
Pause break.
Yeah,
Why? No,
yeah.
no, no,
I
no,
was
no,
like,
no,
yeah,
no,
exactly.
no.
I was like, no, guys.
To a rally.
Let's all exactly like let's all settle down.
Yeah, it was a joke. These are jokes.
Don't turn this into a rally. Exactly.
That's so funny.
So I could see you doing that. It sounds like you really hate samurais.
That's almost a weird thing. I've never been in a position where I make something outlandish and people are like, yeah, you're right. I'm like, no, I'm not right. I'm a comedian. No, it's supposed to be absurd. Oh, fuck that joke then.
I don't tell that joke anymore because it got that hard of a laugh and I felt bad. I was like, all right, that sucks.
Yeah, but I guess you can. God, it's tough when you have like, oh, this kills, but it shouldn't.
Here's the thing.
I've never had that.
You can write more jokes.
Right.
It was easy for me to throw that one away because
get a real job.
Yeah, I mean,
I would rather use like vegans.
Oh yeah,
you
true.
use something like that's harmless to pick on, like a group of people, like people who ride their, I don't know, people who dress in spandex and ride their bikes.
Yeah.
Like get a real, you can say something like that where it's not seemingly egregious.
Right.
But I've never had that yet, so
you might do it with the hate if you ever do that samurai joke and like Will Henry's or whatever, you'll probably.
I told the punchline, and it was supposed to be a clean show, and because I took Jeff Justice's comedy class, right?
It's pretty clean.
Pretty clean. I thought so.
Yeah.
I thought so. But it was like walking. It's like you go up to the fence and you just litter a little bit on the other side. They're like, "Yay, you shouldn't be doing that."
Yeah.
But I guess it's okay. But because you didn't cross the fence, you're just like there and you're like, but waving your hand over it.
It's the thing. You got to try to make people laugh. For clean, I do clean comedy.
Yes. Yeah. Me too. Because
the goose thing notwithstanding. There was just no audience.
Joke. It's still a clean joke.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
It is. It's mean, but it's funny. And it's so true because I saw, and it was ironic that this meme came up. They're like, there's an overwhelming amount of men who are, they're afraid of geese. Like, I was like, that's a weird. It looked like an article, but I think it was fake.
Sure.
And
no, but people do say they're scared of geese.
Because no, you.
Oh
you
yeah.
did that. No, it's a good.
You're not scared of geese. You're scared of like what you're capable of.
Right. That's a good. I love that. I loved it. I'm gonna do this. So let me ask you. So having an Italian background, but steeped in a culture that's food rich, right?
Yep.
Who besides like, I'm assuming your grandma's probably like, or what, like the nana, the older lady in the family is probably the best cook.
Yeah.
Who else besides that person is like the best cook in your family?
In my family?
Yeah.
Okay, so my Wilkes County grandma is the best cook in my family. Not close, and that's Southern food.
Oh, nice.
That's North Carolina Southern
That's
food.
the collard greens. That's
yeah. I mean, well, what she does is she just goes to the farmer's market, and that's dinner. And she goes to the Jonesville meat market, and she finds a budget something. She finds a discount in that meat market. She haggles over a piece of meat, and she goes to the farmer's market, and then that's dinner. And dinner will just be a bunch of like cooked vegetables with probably a ton of butter and the meat. And
that checks out.
And everybody eats, and they're like, I'll bring girls there if like I think that we're about to get married or whatever, and they'll be like, I never knew that like lima beans could almost make me cry. and I'm like, yeah, my grandma's nuts. so she's far and away.
Okay.
My grandma in Costa Rica does okay, but it's like not the same level of like, this is something special that my grandma in North Carolina does have.
Yeah.
And then other than that, it's probably just me.
I was hoping you'd say that. I figured you'd be able to cook.
Yeah. I'm not a great chef in terms of I don't really pull ingredients together well, but I'm a great cook in terms of all my stuff comes out like juicy or tender or whatever it wants to be, the right amount of char, that kind of thing.
We did well with Korean BBQ, man. I'll say that. I mean, we fiddled around. I mean, I know it's really hard to screw up, but we yeah.
Oh, we nailed it, dude. We're gonna get back into it when we're done recording this. I want to go one more.
Yeah, and this is the first time that we've like braked for the episode. For food. So it's like we usually what happens in the format usually, I don't have a format per se. It just kind of switches. But normally
there's a format.
I try to follow the same thing. I eat and then I interview. Yeah. And then I go home.
Yeah.
But here we eat, we interview, we go back to eating.
Yeah, because we're a little less full. This is a buffet, and the thing you got to know about me is I've always been pretty much broke. So when I show up to a
comedy for
because I don't mind, because I'm used to it.
You don't mind.
Oh, I don't have any money. So great, you know. So
okay, it's Wednesday. Great, cool.
Yeah, exactly. So when I show up to an all-you-can-eat situation, it's like, oh, I'm full. That's not when you stop.
Yeah, I'll just wait till I'm hungry again.
Yeah,
That's a wise tactic, man.
I don't always get my 3 meals, so whenever now I'm sitting down to eat.
Oh.
So this is gonna last me until it might be Tuesday before I make something for myself again.
Like
Let's go.
Forager.
Yeah.
Like a squirrel gathering his nuts. You're just like, I gotta eat and get all my food calories. There's a guy that I watch online. His name is Adam Moran.
Yeah.
But he's known as Beer Meets Food, and he's the 4th or 6th world-ranked competitive eater.
Cool.
And what he'll do is he smashes every challenge.
Yep.
Every food challenge there is.
Of course.
He doesn't lose. So, but he'll eat like 14,000 calories in a day, and then the next 3 or 4 days he's like, I'll eat like 500 calories.
Yeah.
And then work out and gain. I'm like, that's a wild thing to do.
You know what's crazy is that it's a lot like those people you'll see like in Asian cultures that are like smashing their testicles with a brick or whatever. Well, I always just so admire it because like what a mastery of your body, like and like an understanding of how it works and what it can take. Right? Because he's like, no, I know how to stretch my stomach. Like, in a way that you're not even thinking of.
You can't,
It's similar to those guys in the squares that are just like hitting their balls with a brick or whatever. Like, they get something about themselves that I'm not even there. I'm not even approaching that.
Yeah.
I would probably only be able to take like one hit to the balls.
Yeah, I was about to say, I have 6 dogs, and one of the dogs accidentally just like hit it with its nose.
Yeah.
And it was walking around, I was doing dishes or something, and it was just like, playing, and then just hit me with its like nose and just barely grazed the right one, and I'm like, oh. Yeah. So I'm just like, oh, how? It doesn't compute in my brain.
I mean, how does this guy eat as much as he eats? That also is like probably hard to fathom. They just they just know something about their body, and they've practiced, and so they're not freaks. They're
freaks in terms of like it's a freaky amount of stuff that they can accomplish.
You could accomplish the same thing.
Oh man!
You could learn about it.
I thought I was supportive.
You could dedicate something to the difference between people who are writing the best poems in the world right now and you is about 10 years of reading poetry every day and writing poetry every day.
Yeah, and you know what, you mentioned that like you got so. Anybody that doesn't know this. This was the #1 ranked Magic the Gathering player.
Yeah, and since this is so public, I'll qualify that. On the SCG leaderboard, I was the #1 ranked player in 2019 at the end of season 2.
Wow.
Yeah, that way nobody can accuse me of saying that I'm better than like Luis Scott Vargas or something, because I don't know who's going to listen to this. But
right.
But by all metrics, that was where I was at.
Wow.
And that was a unique journey, because that was also my like kind of rookie season of like taking it seriously.
Yeah.
So I was #1 in my rookie season. Everyone was like, "That's a cool fluke that guy did," right? And so I was like, "I'll show him in 2020. I'm gonna come out just as strong." And then obviously in 2020 everything shut down, so I didn't. And so I really did just become a fluke.
Oh, that's why COVID happened. You're like, oh, I'm gonna keep this title. That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
And you translate it. You figure out like this nice formula on how to get good at
So magic.
Did that translate to comedy well?
Oh yeah, I think actually that it can translate to everything, because it's pretty just like universal, right? And what I said was I didn't choose magic, I didn't choose comedy, I said poetry, because poetry is something that correct me if I'm super wrong, both of us are kind of on the outside right now. We don't know much about poetry. So if I said like Ryan, I'm gonna become the best poet in the world, you would kind of be like, yeah, and I'm gonna jump to the moon. It seems so impossible.
Yeah.
But I think after surrounding myself with really talented poets and reading all their stuff and writing their stuff and making them read it and doing the favors for people, picking up their laundry or just whatever, surrounding myself with those people, reading poetry every day, writing poetry every day, even writing something that I think sucks, and then I tear it up, and then I put it back together, and I go, actually, there's one thing here that's not that bad. I think after about 10 years of that, I would be writing some poetry that you would be like, Jeremy, this is it. This is beautiful. This is short. It speaks right into my soul.
Cry more than those lima beans would make you cry.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, fair. I like that. That's a wise, very supportive, very go-getting. You're like the David Goggins of nerddom, and just do it.
I guess.
It out, that's that's good.
Yeah, and the advice is not like, I'm not a genius. Surround yourself with the people who are doing it the best that you can see.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're going to be a reflection of those people.
Yeah.
Do it when you don't want to.
That's a bit. Let me tell you, that is a big one.
Yeah.
That is a very, very, very large, impactful nugget of like real truth that people don't want to swallow.
Yeah.
And I used to, and I'm just got started back this past week where I worked out a lot.
Yeah.
And oftentimes I was miserable and I didn't want to do it, but I'm like, I have to do it.
Yeah.
This is what you have to do.
Yeah.
You have to put in the. There are times where I'm like, I don't want to go on stage.
Oh, of course.
I don't want to tell this joke.
Are you kidding me? After work, when I get home and my computer with all the video games is right there,
Yeah.
do I want to change clothes and go out to sit in a line where I'm like waiting for my turn and playing a strange social politics game that nobody understands? And then like I get on 30th and it's 6 comics and I'm like, all right, well, I wrote this joke today, and it bombs.
Yep.
And I'm like,
You don't want to do that?
no, yeah.
But you gotta do it.
You gotta do it. If you talk to people who have made it in comedy now, and you're like, I want to get to where you are in comedy. You're talking to like Tom Segura. He's like, all right, how many mics are you doing a week? And you're like, yeah, 5. He's like, you're not serious.
Let me tell you something. Joe, I talked to Joe Smith.
Yep.
And he goes, you got to get in the gym, man. I'm like, oh, I know it's hard. And he didn't mean to give me this piece of advice or criticism or be hard or anything. He said, I told him, like, well, it's hard for me to get out and do that. And kind of semi-making excuses, but just really just explaining my life.
It is hard. It is hard.
And he said, he goes, well, then you're just going to have to be okay knowing that you're a hobbyist.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that hurt. And I felt bad, but he didn't mean to do that. But that's just the facts.
I'm almost worried about why did that hurt?
Because I know that I could be doing more.
Yeah.
So and it's just more like holding a mirror up to your face. That's fine. But those pieces of advice or those people, and that's kind of why I try and support people. I try and go see the great locals, the great good ones, the great famous people. I'm going to see Tom Segura in May.
Yeah.
I'm coming up in May. Matter of fact, this is my jean hat. So
hilarious.
Yeah, man. So I've been a fan. One of my clips actually got played on YMH once. I was fucking stoked.
No, of course, dude. I would be telling everybody
small,
about that.
but it was like, who's there? And
That's not that small in terms of the world of comedy.
yeah, and that was and then those things make me realize, like, oh, I think I'm funny.
You can do it. You're
I
funny.
think I know what funny is.
Yeah.
At least, that's good. So if I know what funny is, and I have at least a little bit of a drive, and I haven't really found my persona, just to be, very candid and open. I don't really think I have one. I'm just me.
Well, you have one. You just don't know exactly what it is.
I don't. I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
I think I'm trying. I try and be genuine, and I just try and be relatable. But that's everyone, right? So I don't really have. You don't think so?
I don't know. I'm not necessarily trying to be genuine. I'm getting up and doing material.
Okay, that's a fair point. So I guess mine is genuine, relatable, short guy.
We're working on it. But yeah, I mean, there's something there. Like, it is different because I get up and like I said, the joke I'm proud of is not like a genuine moment. It's it's me and the audience are hopefully looking behind the curtain and laughing at the thing behind the curtain.
This is
which is what we're doing.
This is this comedy thing.
But that's not a genuine thing.
No.
That's in fact more like a fey trickery thing. It's more like a changeling child, revealing that he's not really one of us,
you figure it's a minor image.
Right.
You cast minor image, that's what happens. I cast minor image, that's my joke.
That's
I gotcha.
That was the joke.
Okay.
People laugh, but it wasn't like, so yeah, genuine is not part of my thing.
I guess it's not part of everybody's.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's part of yours.
Learning a lot. Part of mine. I like.
Well, comics are genuine, but not all of them.
I'm surprisingly a bad liar.
Yeah.
I really am. Like, I'm not like a cheater. I just tell the truth and that's it.
Yeah.
And whatever happens, happens, and that's it.
I never can lie to anybody because I like it way too much.
I wish I had the ability to be. If you were to ask me like, hey, was this a good meal? And if I were to say no, but I really enjoyed it, and I'm like, no, that's how I act.
Yeah.
Like, no. I'm so open and apparent, so I like to be genuine with my comedy. And I know we embellish.
Yeah.
Like, we take a sliver of truth and we just like build these oysters of jokes and stuff and sets that come from like a sliver of one.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Sure, of course.
I know I'm not lying.
If somebody walked over to this table right now and was like, was this a good meal? I think that I would just be like, he actually ate it. I just sat down for an interview. I didn't get any of it. I have no idea. I didn't eat this.
I don't know.
Where am I? No, he just wanted to interview me here. I don't know.
Yeah,
I didn't need anything.
I don't know him. Call the cops.
Well, I don't know. I don't want to hurt you. I don't know about call the cops. But yeah, there would be an amount, like, my natural thing is not to just be super honest.
I'll end with this, and I said this before, and not to be too forward and everything, but let me tell you something. You're a handsome fella.
Thanks.
And I was trying to do a little bit of research, looking, and saw you look like you were in like a Calvin Klein ad in a picture.
Yeah.
Like, man, you just see glasses and these long hair and this kind of guy, but you never know. It's nice to do this and see like the other sides of people. So you modeled?
Okay, so I was dating a model at the time.
Okay.
And I accompanied her to a photo shoot. And it was just a very classic moment where the director was like, yes, he's what I want. You know, and she was kind of like, it's hard to get modeling jobs. And I was like, I don't know, like I just showed up and they gave me one. But no, it's a moment that people can relate to, right? Just a classic, like, yeah, him. And then, I put that picture up, and then a couple other people wanted to take my picture, but I never did it for money.
You're just like, hey, I'm just doing it.
Yeah, and mostly for people who wanted to show off their clothes. Like, I'll wear your coat, I'll wear your shirt or whatever. Sure. And when I had I haven't cut my hair in forever because right when the pandemic, right before it started, I got a really bad haircut. And I was like, I'm never getting a fucking haircut again. which everyone can relate to. They've had that moment where they look in the mirror and they're like, I'm just going to grow it out.
A bad haircut is, you're not wrong. That's relatable.
If a grown man is like crying and I'm like, what happened? He's like, I got a terrible haircut. I like get it. I don't think he's wrong.
I got it, bro.
Yeah. Like, damn, that sucks.
We forgive those tears.
No, yeah, we forgive those tears. Right? Like, like if a guy's like, oh, she left me for another guy, like get over it, get under somebody. You know what I mean? Yeah, we can do this. We can get through this. But on a bad haircut, like, yeah, no. Come here, buddy. Yeah, come here, buddy. So I got a bad haircut right before the pandemic. This is the longest it's ever been in my life. I always kept it pretty much how your hair looks.
Really?
Yeah, that's about how I kept my hair.
Yeah.
And I got a bad haircut right before the pandemic, and I was never getting it cut again. And then I had an excuse because there was the pandemic, so it's like you can't get your haircut anyway.
Yeah.
And then now I've been growing it out since 2020. Yeah. So, no.
You're just gonna let it ride?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess until I have a job interview or something. A reason.
Yeah, and it makes a wild impression because I think if we're so used to seeing Dom Smith just got a haircut.
Yeah.
It's not like a big thing, but if anybody knows Dominic, you know him. I was like, you went from Sideshow Bob to Late Show Dominic.
Yeah.
So he was.
And then what did he do the first mic back after the haircut? He started fighting people. He did. He went to Saddle Up and he got in a fight with the bar owner and somebody whipped out a studded bat. It was nuts. So I was there that night and it was completely crazy. And then it got like diffused, but there's a reason that everybody was like, Saddle Up was insane last night. It's because Dom was like a few words away from becoming very badly beaten up.
God, jeez. He's like, I'm not. And then he heard it. He was saying things like, I'm not scared of prison. Like I was like, oh, geez, Dom.
Yeah, he got his haircut and became like very hardened. You said you leave with that. Are we almost done?
Yeah, I think we're gonna be. That's my last question. So, last thing I'd do is, do you have any shows coming up? Where do you have anything that you want to plug?
Yeah. I have a podcast with Alex Libby.
Which one's that?
It's called Which One is Alex Libby? She's a comic. She does the roll call nights. I have a podcast with Alex Libby. It's called the Strawberry Guacamole Podcast.
The Strawberry Guacamole Podcast.
Yeah, the first episode as of yet is unreleased, but we're going to be releasing it soon. So, be on the lookout. I'll be posting about it a lot on my Instagram. You can follow me on Twitter at MOXJeremy. That's Mox Jeremy. That's where I have the most followers. Unfortunately, Atlanta Comedy is like, oh, we do Instagram, which is like, are you kidding me? You know, like, whatever.
Right.
But yeah, Twitter at Mox Jeremy. And then if you follow that, you'll see the release of the podcast. It's pretty good. It's kind of like a come town style, like we just talk and like sort of at the beginning of the podcast when I was like, and that's why the Jewish guy won't be on the podcast, like stuff like that, where we kind of get a little weird and crazy, but like, you know, it's Alex Libby, so it's people.
Let me tell you, I think I already know it's going to be good because you have energy that's like, here, you're here.
Yeah.
Your voice, your cadence, your just neuroses.
Yeah.
Is good, and Alex is so subtly muted and fucked up and silly and funny.
I can get her going.
Yeah.
In terms of energy on that podcast.
That's wild. And you talk about someone who is like multifaceted. Like that girl is something. She's something. She's special.
People don't even get to know her.
Yeah.
Like nobody really like knows who she is.
Yeah, she is beyond special. She's super nice and like it doesn't seem like she'd be mean or anything at all, but she's not, and it's like, wow.
Yeah.
I like seeing that. I talked about Liz and like I was surprised because it's a wonderful thing to get to know someone past comedy.
Yeah.
Like, wow, you made me, and then it gives you appreciation for their comedy, like it does you now.
Yeah. Oh, also I should shout out Ben Brown. I know he's already had an episode, but he's a genius. He's going to be famous like soon.
Yeah, Ben is. I thought I was supportive, and then I see much more supportive people. Your laugh, Ben's mic, all these things that you guys do, and you share each other's stuff, and it's very nice to see. So I'm glad I'm in good company.
Yeah. Well, you know, as soon as you Ben told me to come on here as opposed to go and watch a thing. Not that I wouldn't just like snap said yes, but I just already had a plan, and he told me he would get me in for free. So I asked him, and he was like, "It's Ryan's podcast, not closed." So
did it live up to what you expected, man?
Yeah. Oh, this was awesome. The talk was cool. I want to go more. I want to do more. I should have questions for you.
Ask me away. Ask away.
Okay.
There's no limit to this, man.
Yeah.
Try and keep it short, sweet. But sometimes, let me tell you, there are two. This is a weird thing. 2 episodes have went 44 minutes and 44 seconds.
Oh.
I swear.
Yeah.
Like, that's weird. It was Christian Davis and Christian Davis and Angela Kimmel. Yeah, they both went the same exact amount of time.
Oh.
That's creepy.
And they're the same person, so that makes sense. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, black male comic and female half Korean.
Yeah.
Potato.
Mm. Were you into anything competitive? Like maybe growing up or now? What do you do for
what do I do for a living? Is that what
No. What do you do to satiate your bloodlust?
I grew up not very much money at all, and it's just me, single mom, and my brother. So I kind of grew up really fast. But I would say the most competitive thing is like in middle school, I won a push-up contest in 8th grade.
Yeah.
And I lorded that over everybody.
You didn't win well.
No, it was by 2 push-ups. And like,
so you barely won.
But let me tell you, a win's a win, buddy.
Let me ask you, was it a blind competition? So like, were you doing it next to your people, or did everyone just like do the amount of push-ups they could do?
No.
And then at the end,
they lined us all up.
Okay.
And they were like, do push-ups, go, and that was it. And I outlasted them. You had to keep a certain pace, and I mean, I didn't weigh much of anything, but I was strong for my size.
Listen, you won the contest. You don't have to qualify it. You won the contest.
I mean, I'll do. I think you can beat me because I think I weigh a lot more than you, and I think you'd win.
I can do probably about 25 push-ups
in a row.
Yeah.
Just without, and then you're done.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd be you.
Yeah. I'm pretty comfortable there. I mean, like I said, I don't eat very much. I can feel it too. After like my 20th push-up, I'm like, I haven't eaten in a couple days, and usually me not moving very much is like is fine for that. But once I start moving, maybe after this, call me tomorrow, and I'll probably be able to bang out a lot more push-ups. But
what about? Do you have any questions about me for comedy?
Yeah. So I guess like, what do you got going on in terms of shows?
You know what? I don't think anybody's ever asked me that. So this weekend is the biggest weekend that I have coming up in comedy yet.
So April 30th, May 1st.
Yeah, the 29th is Dahlonega, Canopy and the Roots. I will be doing the Punchline Jeff Justice Workshop alumni show. Thank you very much. That's Sunday, May 1st, and then I'll be at Black Bear Tavern on Monday.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. It's wild, and I see the comedy gods supporting me back because I pour into comedy and comedians, and I try to. And then the more you support comedians, I think the more comedy supports you.
Sure.
And I from what I've seen, and this may be an isolated case, but you know, I try and listen to comics. I try and really give them, you know, a good, I don't know, compliment about something specific. Right. And I try to actually try my best to pay attention to people. I hope that comes through on this, because that's the point.
Yeah, people are going to notice that on this.
Because I hope it makes a difference. Because I don't want to ask general questions, not to knock anybody else who asks simple questions or anything.
Sure.
But I like to be personal.
Yeah.
Because we all see the things that we see for them. I want things that are like unseen, and I like that. And you guessed that I would play a paladin or
a barbarian. Well, so cleric I thought that you would still want to do some really physical stuff, which is why I went with that.
My next character, I'm thinking about making a Goliath paladin.
I could tell you wanted to get like kind of muscle in on some people, so that's why I went with paladin instead of cleric.
Paladin's so fun, man.
Paladin's
good stuff. Like, cause you can do so much damage with smites. Oh, just
my favorite one is I have a divination wizard.
That's what my friend plays, and it is it's such an overpowered class.
I think so.
With the portents, and then when you get high level, he has had a simulacrum for 12 levels. Yeah, it's been ridiculous.
Yeah,
and his name is Bob Wheezy. That's his name in the game. And he named it after, I think, a Seinfeld character.
Sure.
You know, I'm the Wiz, and there was a guy that used to come to our work. He was a motivational speaker who sucked, and
that's awesome.
We made fun of him. He's the Wiz. I was like, that's the same person, but he looked like Jeremy from the River Monsters show. Yeah. He looked exactly like him, and so that was a combination of how he got his character. And I made my character basically a mixture of my grandpa and Clint Eastwood. And so I play a grave cleric. And, so that's how it is. So.
All right, man.
Well, that's it. Next episode, it's either going to be Dominic Smith or to be determined. So, Jeremy.
And that's the podcast. And then you slap me because we can't say that because that's theirs.
Yeah. Later.